Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV, Covert Ops, episode 210. How y'all doing? Hope all is well. Hope we had a stress-free week as possible, as always. And we're going to get into some stuff today, particularly the leading story. We got to get into this NBA scandal that I believe could be the start of a possible sports betting bubble that will pop at some point. We're going to get into Stephen A. Smith and his continued push to get into politics, to be a bigger voice, should I say, in the political space. A few other things we're going to get to, updates and some stories, and also maybe an end to one story, at least one career that could have been possibly a lot bigger than it might be now, but we will get to that later. Hold on, y'all. Just give me a sec. All right. Guess we'll get right into it. I want to start with this here. Hold on. All right, here we go. Feds reveal mafia-linked gambling probe that led to arrest of Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups and coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, if I'm not mistaken, and NBA star Terry Rozier. I don't know if he's an NBA star, but yeah, they kind of put a sauce on in these headlines. But anyway, so they have brought down the arrest of a few players, along with Damian Jones, former player Damian Jones, where this gambling probe they're talking about is two separate cases or instances that they've kind of tied together. So basically, Terry Rozier, NBA player Terry Rozier, he's arrested for something that we assume players do all the time, where he's giving people the update, insider information on certain things that goes along with betting the over/under on his stats. So he told someone apparently that, hey, I'm going to be out tonight. I'm not playing the whole game. Bet the under. So that's like in Wall Street when a politician knows that some bill is coming, and so they immediately throw money into a stock or tell someone to throw money into a stock because, hey, we passing this bill. It's going to affect these corporations or whatever, for the better or for the worse. That's insider trading. This is kind of what he's doing, kind of. Same thing going on with Damian Jones. Basically, he was telling people player A and player B, which turned out to be LeBron and Anthony Davis, how they weren't going to be playing in a game, giving information to these sports bettors, these professional gamblers, and they use the information to make money, to make bets. The Chauncey Billups story is where it gets interesting. So let me show this first. Let me show this right here.
Such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families.
So you heard that right. We're in 2025 and we're hearing the name of the 5 families again in regards to organized crime. And we know they're still around, but so now it's, as he said, 30 people were arrested. He named the 5 crime families that he believed was a part of this gambling scheme, but we know only 3 faces. I'm pretty sure people have been pointing out, man, it's kind of crazy that y'all are telling us all these people that's involved. The only faces we've seen, the only names we've read is Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damian Jones, who are all former or current athletes or coaches, and all are black. I'm just saying, I ain't saying they're guilty or not, but it is kind of like, damn, all these people involved, and the only people you're making known is these three. Although they are the most famous, in Chauncey Billups' case especially, he was used as a face card to bring people to card games in order for them to be scammed. Now, this is going to go deeper into something. It's not just about sports betting to me. I believe this is tied to politics and a lot of other things that's going on in the country. So, as you can see here, NBA gambling scandal. Explain what to know as Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier get arrested and suspended. Okay, why was Terry Rozier arrested? Rozier and Billups are being investigated for different crimes. Rozier is part of an investigation into the bettors using non-public information, such as when a player would miss game or exit early to place bets. In total, 7 different games are part of the investigation per the FBI. Rozier and others allegedly obtained insider information to pass it along to bettors. On March 23rd, 2023, Rozier himself exited the game against the New Orleans Pelicans after 9 minutes and 34 seconds, during which he scored 5 points, putting up 4 rebounds and dishing out 2 assists. He allegedly shared with people close to him that he planned to leave the game early. That was his final game action of the 2023-2024 season. Members of the group being investigated allegedly placed more than $200,000 in bets on Rozier's underline across multiple prop bets. So his case is kind of, it is what it is. We assume players been doing that forever. Whether it be you on a bad team, you're not making the playoffs. Hey, I'm gonna say I hurt my ankle this game. Y'all just bet on this, make some extra money. Dudes don't want to play. Dudes want to go out to the club. They stayed out too late the night before. They sick, so they act like they get injured during the game, so they don't got to play the whole game. We know that stuff happens. Billups, on the other hand, was allegedly involved in rigged poker games tied to the mafia. The FBI said victims would be lured into playing with well-known former NBA players, and Billups only to be cheated out of their money using technology that ranged from rigged shuffling machines to X-rays that could read cards that were face down on the table to contact lenses that could identify marked cards. According to the indictment, the FBI said the games were tied to La Cosa Nostra, the Italian mafia. Now, this is also tied to another case. Y'all may not know this, but a few months ago, former NBA player and now podcaster, show host, Gilbert Arenas was arrested for the exact same thing as Chauncey Billups. He came out even after this right here broke saying, hey, I snitched. I don't know if because Gilbert Arenas is a very sarcastic dude, so you never know when he's being serious versus when he's joking. But this is crazy. The fact that the mafia had a pre-existing control over non-rigged illegal poker games around New York City, U.S. Attorney from the Eastern District of New York, Joseph, said Thursday. As a result, they also became involved in rigged poker games, helping to organize the games and taking a cut of the proceedings and working to enforce the collections of debts. Now, how this becomes a bigger story for one reason only. If the mafia is involved, to me, it shows why, if you've noticed over the last couple of years, Vegas has been a bigger destination in sports. For years, the NFL did not have a team in Vegas, and I felt like we all knew the reason why. The history of Vegas and what it's attached to, sporting events didn't want to be attached to what that was, with the mafia and the gambling and the cheating and stuff. So the NFL now has a NFL team. The NBA is looking to get one, and we see the F1 and all these. Vegas is having a complete makeover in the last 5 years or so, where a whole bunch of money seems to have been pushed into Vegas. I wonder if that has anything to do with the mafia. Obviously, it's a rhetorical question. It obviously does. But if Billups, who seems like a stand-up dude, we've only heard about him being a stand-up dude, and I saw people already give this perspective, and I agree with it. Is it possible that Billups got into some debt and was pretty much told, you're going to show up to these card games so that we can bring these other victims in to scam them, to cheat them out of their money, or we're going to get our money from you another way? So was he being threatened? We know that there's allegedly already situations where apparently a few people associated with this case have already been beaten up or harmed by the mafia or some other groups. But I also want to say the fact that this case was announced right at the beginning of the NBA season. I wonder if this has anything to do with. Hold on. And this is right here's another part I'm gonna get to. NBA gambling investigation. Damon Jones allegedly sold information about LeBron James. Now, LeBron didn't start this season. The first time in 23 years, he did not start the season. Apparently has an injury that's keeping him out till November. People are saying, is it because he knew this is coming down? Is he attached to it? I don't think so. 2 years ago, a podcast was done by this guy here, and he pretty much exactly what we end up finding out now.
Man, I would have never thought we were being cheated by this man this whole time. Like if he didn't just like completely smash the game.
Played the shit reg
This is 2 years ago.
to a T.
Right.
Yeah, like the absolute perfect shit reg.
Yeah.
Man. Interesting.
Yeah. Cheating's bad, okay?
It is.
There are a lot of stories about it. There's one that cropped up. This must have been like 5 years ago, 2019-ish, I think. 4 years ago, where there was this game. It started in LA and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups.
So this man is saying, this is 2 years ago. He was saying that 5 years prior to that, 2019, that Chauncey Billups was already attached to these gambling, poker, cheating schemes. So who knows how long he's been attached to this.
And
we know once you get in bed with the mob, it's forever. They're gonna blackmail you for the rest of your life until they can't get any more money out of you, and then they're gonna burn you.
I had heard about the game, and the person who told me about it was like, "Look, I know the game runners. I'm 100% this game is on the up and up." And I was like, "Well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up."
Yeah.
And we kind of went back and forth, and I agreed that like I just wasn't going to go play it, but I had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas, and it obviously like was for sure confirmed to be cheated.
Mm-hmm.
Like people who clearly didn't even understand the rules of no limit hold'em are just like jamming hundreds of big blinds in with like a gutty. And then just drilling it.
Yeah.
Only the pros are losing. Like,
how is it figured out? Like, it just.
So you get the point that he pretty much there already. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is right here. A shout out to Regina. Until I see the Epstein files, yawn to all the other. It's funny you said that because that's exactly what I was going to in the next part when I talk about Trump, because I believe Trump is obviously connected to this, considering the person he put at the head of the FBI is the one who's leading this investigation. Regina said, in my humble opinion, these stories are pointing to the rise of the billionaire class and their proclivities under a makeover, yet alleged criminality. I'm gonna get to this Trump part immediately too. I'm gonna go straight to that. So obviously this is just showing that even with this professional gambler, he was saying in 2019 that this was happening. So if this was happening in 2019 all the way to now, and apparently this investigation started under Biden, obviously Trump, or at least the FBI, decided to put this out opening week of the NBA. Now, Trump has been having a beef with these sport leagues the last couple years. We know the NFL, he's mad with the NFL right now because they chose to have a Spanish-speaking man lead the Super Bowl, and he threatened to send ICE to the Super Bowl if they choose him. They still chose him, so he's angry with them. He's also mad with them when the Black Lives Matter thing, when they put in racism in the end zones and was playing the Black national anthem and all that other stuff. So he's been beefing with them. And the NBA, obviously, he's had back and forth, very public back and forth with people like, not back and forth, but more so going at people like LeBron. So this right here, at the same time as the investigation, I talked about this weeks ago. The Binance founder, this Asian guy, who pretty much got hit up with a whole scheme, money scheme, Trump pardoned him. So remember Trump, I said it a while ago, Trump knows how to use certain stories and headlines to cover other things. where he'll throw a whole bunch of stuff at you. And what's really important, people won't pay attention to. Now, remember, this man right here, allegedly, or not even allegedly, it happened, he helped Trump with some of his own businesses. So obviously, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. At the same time, Trump has been bringing up possibly pardoning Diddy. Once again, knowing how to grab headlines like his mentor taught him, Roy Cohen. So, and I said this immediately when this stuff started happening. The one case nobody's talking about now, his base, the people who hate Trump, they're not talking about Epstein anymore. Like, because so many things happen throughout the year, most people in this country, they just focus on stuff in parts. So for 1 month, they care about this. And for another 2 months, they care about this. And then it just switch trends of what they care about month to month. So now the people that hate Trump the hardest, they're doing the No Kings protest, which I'll get to, and they're focused on other things, and now they're not even talking about the Epstein files being released or not. They don't even care no more. They're just moving on to something else that he's thrown at them, and they're focusing on another bone that he's thrown at them. So let me show this right here, because this story with the NBA, and if there is an investigation, they was able to crack down on people, it means there's informants. It means somebody's talking. It's pretty obvious. People like Gilbert Arenas who said he's talking. But a story that hit the headline again, that we already knew this, is Al Sharpton got re-exposed for being an informant, which we already knew. I don't understand why this became a trend. Day before yesterday, people started talking about Al Sharpton being an informant again. It's like, we've known this forever. We know he had a run-ins with the mob, allegedly, and he decided to run and became an informant to save himself. Even though I'm now found out that Al Sharpton says, actually, he was trying to do things to protect his community, and the mafia was trying to stop him, and so he went to the feds for help.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Nobody believes that. Regina said, our Trump pardons to Israel, China, Ukraine, any other group he considers an ally or an enemy. Trump is a strange person because he doesn't see enemies and friends or enemies and allies as different. The perception of how he treats you is based off of how much he needs you in the moment. So for this year, you might be an ally, but the second I need something different, you're now my enemy. He doesn't view people as actual friends or enemies. He just viewed you as tools, which is how those type of businessmen think. They don't think about people as actual humans. You're just a tool that I can use or not use. And once I can't use you anymore, I'll ignore you. Because even when you're my enemy, I can use you somehow. When I want to get something else passed, or I have another agenda, I can use my dislike or my public dislike of you as a strength. So that's how Trump always moves. Let me play this right quick.
Al Sharpton has come clean about his secret past as a government informant. CBS 2's Dave Carlin tells us the activist admitted to helping the FBI bring down some of New York's most wanted.
I was not and am not a rat.
The Reverend Al Sharpton identified as confidential informant CI7, now admitting he wore a wire for the FBI. He helped the government go after boxing promoter Don King, music executives, and mobsters, including Vincent the Chin Gigante, who famously wore his robe and pajamas in public.
I was cooperating.
Sources say that cooperation likely started after he was nabbed in a drug sting caught on video. Helping the feds may have helped him. But Sharpton says he went to them because members of the mob wanted him dead.
They were threatening to kill me.
Sharpton is kicking off his National Action Network convention this week with headliners President Obama and Mayor de Blasio, who defended Sharpton.
I think he has done a lot of good for the city of New York and for this country.
Retired NYPD Detective Sergeant Joseph Jackalone says unmasking any confidential informant troubles him.
You never want this because we need people to help cooperate, so this is an unfortunate incident.
Sharpton said,
It's funny, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson are one of the few people of this ilk, those pastor/activist people that black people, for the most part, don't trust. They're the only ones that burn the bridge that much. Just typical white man. Yeah, pretty much. Virginia also says I was not a rat. Sounds similar to I did not have sex with that woman. I did not have relations. He was lying like hell. But speaking of informants, so with this, people started talking about the Freedom of Information Act being used for past, because this stuff opens up. This stuff is normally under seal for, I think it's 50 years, 60 years, something like that. And then it can become public information with the Freedom of Information Act. You can ask about whatever political public figures or any investigation that the government did on people, citizens. You can ask them to release that stuff publicly, which is why we're supposed to have MLK and all that stuff information, but they never really truly gave us the real. They released it, but it wasn't everything. But anyway, if Al Sharpton, who's admitting now that he was an informant, even though he's trying to twist it to say he was doing something to save his own life and to benefit his community, how many people from the 60s, 70s, and 80s who are regarded as pro-black, for the community, for the people, how many of them will it turn out that they were actually informants trying to take down people like a Malcolm X or a Martin Luther King or even a Fred Hampton? Even though we know who the informant or snitch was in that situation, he ended up killing himself. But how many people that we revere right now, or people revere, black people in general, when people really start using that Freedom of Information Act to find out private information on them, the investigation that was happening, and the stuff they gave to the government to take down black people, it's going to be a sad day. Because it's a lot. When you read these books, these autobiographies or these biographies of these historical figures or these books written by people from their perspective on the lives of people we look up to, they always paint a different picture. Like, yeah, they had good intent, but this is what they were doing behind the scenes. This is the stuff they sacrificed for this right here. And I think it's necessary. Like I said, I'll never forget, man, when I started reading certain things and finding out about the Panthers and civil rights movement and the false flags that were being done. Yes, there were false flags associated with the civil rights movement. There were certain things that was happening that was set up by the people that are part of the movement to push things forward. Once again, it was with good intent, but it was lies. And you just got to be honest about that. It changed your entire perception of history. Because you realize that some of these people are just, they're created. They're concoctions. They're not authentic. They are people, they were heroes that were created and put in front of you to be celebrated for how they want you to carry yourself or how they want things to be perceived. And it completely changes how you view history when you read some of this stuff. But it gotta happen. It needs to happen. Absolutely needs to. Speaking of informants, Stephen A. out here trying to snitch. Well, Stephen A. Smith out on completely to what he's trying. He ain't low no more. People are turning them now because people are recognizing what he's trying to do. Stephen A. Smith doesn't hold back true feelings on Lakers LeBron James. So for the past year or so, Stephen A. has had this, I won't call it one-sided anymore because LeBron responded. If he didn't respond, it'd be one side. He did respond on Pat McAfee's show. But Stephen A. Smith went on Carmelo Anthony's podcast and again cried about his feelings towards LeBron. Insinuated a lot of things, but everything he kind of publicly said was stuff that's happened in the last 2 years. But he'll swear up and down he's been in a beef with him for a decade. He also talked about his thing he did with Kyrie Irving, where he was pretty much calling for Kyrie Irving to be kicked out of the league because he didn't want to take the COVID shot. And now he's trying to rewrite history that it's not what happened, and that's exactly what you did. That's kind of crazy. So he went on this whole thing with LeBron, where he brought up NBA player Russell Westbrook, who has something with the Lakers because they kind of traded for him and it didn't work out. It kind of ended badly, and they always putting it on LeBron's fault, whatever. But now people, like I said, are reading into it for what I've always said it was, which is this right here. Let me show this. Stephen A. criticism accused being politically motivated. obviously, LeBron is a lightning rod, not just in the sports world, but in politics, because he's associated himself in the past with Hillary Clinton, Obama's, Kamala Harris. He voiced his support for her, but he didn't get too close to her, funny enough. And so the right-wing supporters don't like him. Politically, they hate him. So Stephen A. Smith, people have kind of come to the conclusion that kind of obvious, that the reason why he goes after LeBron so sharply is because he's trying to garner that right-wing audience. Stephen A. Smith, I said before that he probably trying to run for office or something. I don't believe that anymore. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I don't believe it. I believe he's trying to become the voice. He's trying to become the biggest voice in politics the same way he feels he became the biggest voice in sports. Politics is more money. It's a bigger audience. Stephen Smith is clearly an ambitious man, and so that's where he wants to become a voice. That's why he's always willing to go on the Fox News or CNN or CBS, or he's everywhere to speak politics. He's trying to constantly sell that he's a moderate. He's in the middle. And the middle is where the truth is, as they say. But he's trying to use LeBron as a pawn to grow his audience. But it ain't working because people reading it too easily. So Los Angeles opener, Stephen Smith isn't holding back on LeBron James, so whatever. Smith argued the face of ESPN opened the regular season with some harsh criticism of LeBron James. He made it clear that he does not like the league's most popular player. Smith, during a recent episode of 7 a.m. in Brooklyn with Carmelo Anthony, sounded off on LeBron James. The day that he rolled up on me courtside, it was in my contract announced that I had stayed with ESPN. Smith explained in the podcast. Go back and look at the camera angle. This is 2025. We got technology everywhere. TNT is a nationally televised game. How is it we got one angle, and the only angle you will see was him and his face, but you see the ball, the back of my peanut head? Smith thinks that there should have been more cameras around. There's no way that you are in the arena. You're LeBron James, and the only angle that somebody sees is a straight up getting in my face, Smith added. There was no reaction. They see nothing, and that's an accident. So Stephen Smith believed that it's a conspiracy put together by LeBron at this game that anybody could have been recorded. A fan could have recorded this to make him look like a punk, to make it look like he got punked, which is something he keep pointing to as like a real big deal for him. I don't understand why he's so focused on that part. You're talking about the man's son and his father, so you shouldn't be surprised. I don't like his ass, not a little bit. That dates back more than a decade. I'm not going to go into detail of stuff this man has tried to do to me. You do not understand the lengths this man will go to. If it were up to him, where I am today, it's so low, it's some low stuff. That's possible. But it also, you did the same thing to Kyrie Irving when you tried to get him kicked out of the league because he didn't want to take a shot. You was the loudest voice. As a matter of fact, you did the same thing with LeBron. You went on national television on your show in front of all those millions of people and said that if LeBron doesn't come out and tell the world that he got the vaccine shot, that he is causing harm to his community, that it is dangerous for him not to say it. So, I mean, I'm going to play this right here by Marcellus Wiley. He said a bit, and I agree with what he said. Let me show this.
Has receipts on LeBron, but guess what? The crowd has receipts on you as well, Stephen A. Smith. And those receipts that you're trying to now flip on LeBron going to be flipped on you. This is weird. I don't know what bizarro world we're in, but right now the race card is being played by Stephen A. Smith on his own race.
Oh, I forgot to mention that part. Stephen A. Smith said LeBron is racist. And this is where I go with Stephen Smith is trying to do he's trying to play the middle. So on one hand, you'll notice that he'll go on his show, his political show, and he'll say things that lean towards moderate, maybe even / right-winger viewpoints. You know, when he talks about Jasmine Crockett and all that stuff, regardless if you agree with what he said or not, that is clearly what audience he's kind of leaning himself into by saying things and commentating or chastising her publicly. But then on the other hand, he tries to act like he's this pro-black dude and he just always doing stuff to help black people and black men in particular in media and all this other stuff. So the audience you're trying to attract for politics, the right-wing, more white male audience, what do they care that LeBron James hasn't publicly chastised a white reporter? And he has, by the way, because Stephen A. Smith came out and said that he's the only reporter that LeBron has came out and did that to. He hasn't done it to a white dude, even though he did it. He did absolutely come out and chastise white reporters who said things that he disagreed with. But why would your white Republican audience care if he didn't? So I remember in like 2013, somebody said it about Stephen A. that he tries to play both sides to the point where he has no sides. No offense to Stephen A. I don't want to down him because at the same time, he is talented at what he does. But people can make the argument that you inherited your audience from Skip Bayless. You was as much as important to that show as him, but it was his show. You inherited that audience. People can you had your own show and it got canceled. Stephen A. Smith, you had your own show on ESPN and it got canceled. Skip Bayless, a Caucasian man, gave you an opportunity, gave you a job. That's how you was able to be where you are now. So I can't say that you built your audience because it was given to you. So who is Stephen A. Smith's true supporters? What is his audience makeup? I don't know. And so we don't believe you need more people. Sounds like projection to me. Let me finish this. Hold on.
What? Okay. In this situation, Stephen A. Smith obviously should let it go, but he's not. He's not letting it go because that hit dog is hollering.
Ego.
And he can't scratch that itch because he knows in the moment he was wrong and he detonated LeBron. All that criticism of Bronny, whatever. All that criticism of LeBron, whatever. LeBron's been in the league 23 years. He's been hearing it since high school. You think Stephen A. Smith, as loud as you get, as big as your platform is, really got to LeBron? No. It wasn't the Bronny talk exclusively. It wasn't the LeBron talk exclusively. It's when you tried to marry those two and had these famous words come out of your mouth. LeBron, I'm pleading with you as a father. After that, if you would have switched that name from LeBron to Marcellus or to anybody listening, you say that sentence, oh, we got problems. We got big problems. If you talk about my 10-year-old son, MJ, right now, and you say, Marcellus, I'm pleading with you as a father, I don't give a damn what else you say. You better be on notice. We talking. Oh, we talking. We going to talk too. Oh, I don't understand why you dancing around that. But it's the same thing we've seen time and time again with Stephen A. Smith. Also, let's just be real about it. Stephen A. Smith, Steven Jackson called it out. You got different energy for LeBron. You got different energy for Kyrie than you do when somebody else is doing some stuff. Just be real. You don't believe me? Okay, give you an example. LeBron, billionaire, baller. You come at him a certain way. Now, when you get checked for some words you said about Serena from her husband, Alex, all of a sudden you don't know English, or at least you're not articulate.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other story. Allegedly, Stephen A. Smith said something about Serena Williams. Oh, yeah, remember when Serena Williams lost to old girl, the young girl, the match she lost a few years ago? Yeah, young black girl, and people were saying Serena was being a bit of a diva and throwing a tantrum. Stephen A. Smith came out publicly and said some very strong words about that. Apparently, Alex came out, her Caucasian husband, tried to get in contact with him. He wouldn't get in contact with him, so he pulled some strings, went to the ESPN studio, and Stephen A. Smith didn't show up to work. Or at least, let me say this, he wasn't in the building. I say, if you duck smoke from that dude, yeah, I don't really want to hear nothing you got to say. If you duck smoke from him, like, stop, bro. Let's stop right there. Next up, let's get to this. The No Kings protest, more protests. Millions rally against Trump at No Kings protests across the U.S. Organizers say, here's why protesters say they attended. Let me play some of this. Let me show that. Let me play some of this.
Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC. Wow. All right, coming up.
You know, it's obvious this stuff is funded, and it solves nothing. I think people believe that this will help them for the midterms. If you show this disapproval and dislike of what Trump is doing, that in its midterms, you'll have built a big enough audience to try and win some seats back from the Republicans. That makes sense. That's basic strategy. No problem. But it's the fact that we know most of these people out there don't even care about nothing they're supposed to be standing for. It's just a trend. It's just something to do. I want to be a part of something bigger. The same thing happened during the Black Lives Matter riots or protests, whatever you want to call them. So many people, they went out there because there was nothing else to do. It was lockdown. It was nothing else we could do. I want to get out of the house. I'm going out here to the quote unquote protest because I care. They didn't care. Half those turned into basic parties, house parties and stuff. People went around laying up with people. No one really takes it serious. When you see individual videos from these protests, people dressing up like Halloween characters. They making jokes on billboards. I mean, on protests. Whatchamacallits. They're not even taking it serious as they say it is. If it's a threat to democracy, there's a threat that slavery is coming back. That's what they telling the black people who out there. Yet you out here just joking and kidding around. It's like none of this can be taken serious. To celebrate the 70th birthday, retired governor worker Peggy Cole says she and a friend drove nearly 10 hours from her hometown to Flint, Michigan to join the protest in Washington, D.C. on Saturday. Cole says she left compelled to mark the milestone as a large demonstration because it was a scary time for Americans and democracy is at stake. They've been using that talking point since the election, during campaigning. And by the way, I think Kamala even said that she's not done, so she's probably going to try to run again. It seems to me Trump is taking our government, our democracy, and dismantling it piece by piece, slowly but surely. It will, if we sit by and do nothing, don't do anything about it, Cole said. So they also going at Trump because he tore down a wing of the White House trying to build it back up. And they said, well, what is he doing? He's acting like it's his house now, like he just do what he want to do with it. Even though multiple presidents in the past have added floors, basements, the entire West Wing was added by a president. Most of the White House wasn't there. The White House you see now wasn't completely there in 1800. 890 or 80 or whatever. Most of those places was added on the last 80, 90 years. So they're trying to paint this he's trying to be a king of the country, trying to take over and be a dictatorship. It's still working with some of these people, man. It's kind of sad. On one hand, you say he looks sick, like he's sickly and he might not make it 4 years. On the other hand, you said he's going to be here forever and he's going to run again in 2028 and 2032, whatever. It's a lot of fear tactics they're using to brainwash these people. It's crazy. Like, do you disagree with the policies or are you just painting him as the boogeyman? Which one is it? Y'all, the policies y'all pointing out, y'all ain't pointing out his economic plan that's working or not. You know, the foreign policy that he's doing with other countries that he's trying to do. He's beefing with he was beefing with Russia and y'all didn't even make that a big deal. On one hand, he was in Russia's pocket and Putin was running the country. But when he publicly started saying things towards Russia, y'all don't even act like, okay, it's a switch up or nothing. The event was more than 2,700 No King rallies held across the country on Saturday, protesting what organizers describe as President Donald Trump's authoritarian agenda. That's hundreds more events than were planned for the first go-around in June, when about 5 million people across the country took to the streets. The protest Trump administration has held a military parade in Washington. Nearly 7 million people showed up to the Saturday's rallies, including more than 100,000 people in New York. Organizers and officials said, along with larger events in major cities, small pockets of No King protesters cropped up along busy thoroughfares in small town squares and municipal parks in red and blue states alike. So the continued Trump fear-mongering is going to get looked for in the midterms. Hold on. Quick story with this I want to share. Hold on. Vatican will return dozens of artifacts to indigenous groups in Canada as gesture of reconciliation. The Vatican is expected to soon announce that it will return a few dozen artifacts to indigenous communities in Canada as part of its reckoning with the Catholic Church's troubled role in helping suppress indigenous cultures in America, officials said Wednesday. The items, including the Inuit kayak, as part of a Vatican's museum ethnographic collection known as the Anima Mundi Museum. The collection has been a source of controversy of the Vatican amid the broader museum debate over the restitution of cultural goods taken from indigenous people during colonial periods. Negotiations on returning the Vatican items accelerated after Pope Francis in 2022 met with indigenous leaders who had traveled to the Vatican to receive his apology for the church's role in running Canada's disastrous residential schools. During their visit, they were shown some objects in the collection, including wampum belts, war clubs, and masks, and asked for them to be returned. You know, imagine trying to be the moral authority of the planet while still holding on to their artifacts. We know this is not just obviously these indigenous people in Canada. All throughout Africa, you have all these kingdoms. You took their diamonds, jewelries, and all the other stuff. South African, I think it's a crown. I think it was the diamond. Oh, the diamond from South Africa that Beyonce got in some hot water with because she had the diamond on in a ad or a video or something. And you're just holding on to it like a treasure, but you're at the same time making it seem like you're trying to bring peace to the world and you're trying to be the authority while still holding on to these people's belongings. It's kind of, we know what it is though. That's their spirit. It is what it is. Oh, the dude who killed the police officer who his son was killed, Rodney Hilton Jr. He's now ineligible for the death penalty. They said he was not he's mentally ill. He's not fit to withstand trial for the death penalty, at least. He was in a bad headspace. That makes sense. You find out your son was killed by a cop. The next day you do something crazy. I kind of figured that's how that was going to go. So I guess that's a good thing, at least. Let's move on to this. Hold on. It's gonna be a very short episode. I'm gonna be honest. I gotta go. Hold on. All right. Move on to this. All right. HBCU celebrates legendary comedian with honorary doctorate. Shout out to Katt Williams, giving an honorary doctorate. Katt Williams didn't need a mic to command the crowd in Birmingham this week. Just his presence, the outspoken comedy legend known for his razor-sharp wit and unapologetic delivery stepped into the stage not for the stand-up set, but to receive an honorary doctorate from Miles College on an HBCU, expanding its footprint and innovation in creative industries. So he's going to be working with them for the new the studio that he's building, obviously in Alabama, with the land that he purchased. So he's doing a partnership with HBCUs to take some of the students and help give them a line to work in movie and film and TV show, television. So congratulations to them. But we're going to get to HBCUs and their creatives in a minute, because people ain't believing and following behind them as much because of some of the stuff they pulling. But going to this next, and update on this, we'll spend time on it. Hold on, y'all. American wore the Black Americas flag in a video with a bunch of the war flags behind her. Support some questionable side eyes from people. She recently did a interview where she talked to those people that disagree with her stance on this blackness. Let me show it. comments angered some. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Do I have it? Could have sworn. Hold on, y'all. Okay, hold on. We gotta get this. All right, there we go. This is what she had to say to the people that disagree with her flat blackness belief, as they call black unity, when it's really just about people sacrificing their lineage to push others. All right, let me play it right quick.
So I just want to clarify. I'm pro-black. I'm promoting black unity, black community, and black love. And if you disagree with that, I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
Well, fuck you then. Yeah,
You're a cracker.
Yeah, fuck you. If you disagree with black unity throughout the diaspora, just
a lot of these
be a white man.
And you I know you will agree with this. A lot of these communities, they be on par with
white folk shit.
White supremacy. They be right along with that.
Nigga.
And they be throwing
You
me
ain't
off
low.
because it's like we all black in America.
Listen, man.
We
I'ma
all
tell you
fall under
something.
the same umbrella.
That didn't go over well with a lot of people, but that's not even being the bigger point. I want to get to what that guy said on the Grits Next podcast. The guy you saw in the green shirt there. I want to show what he had to say.
I think the most
further on this. Hold on. Let me show this.
I think the most important thing about being a black American is with the global presence that we have in our culture, with the copycatting that happens in our culture, with the denial of our culture, it's up to us to like morally take a high road when it comes to certain shit. So like being xenophobic doesn't help anybody, right?
No.
Being
it doesn't.
exclusionary of other cultures throughout the diaspora, even if sometimes y'all do that to us, that ain't our role.
It's not.
That right there is what I've been saying for years, is the Pan-African mindset, which is that it is black. I said all the time, Pan-Africanists are basically like neoliberals. They're like white neoliberals. They treat Africans or black people, they treat melanated immigrants or melanated people around the world like children that need to be taught by black Americans. It's very condescending, and for some reason they see it as protection. So his that mindset of just because they do it to us, we shouldn't do it to them. Understandably, you could say it's childish to do it that other way. Okay, I get that. But to say that another group can be exclusionary to you, another group can disrespect your lineage, deny your history and culture, but you should never respond is crazy. Let me play that again, because that is what drives a lot of this. When you get on social media and you see how these people will chastise and correct black Americans. If a black person in America say anything that's considered disparaging towards any group of quote unquote melanated people around the planet, these Pan-Africans will come out of the woodwork and check you quickly and harshly. Very harsh words they'll have for you. But the second they see one of those other groups say something about black Americans, it don't matter. This is one ignorant person. What does it matter? It's like it's this idea that you feel the need to protect them. Like you're almost acting like you are above them. You are the better demographic who gotta stand above it and be above it because they don't know no better. They're ignorant. It's very crazy that they okay with that. Jenna says again, projecting is tethers who identify with a white man, and it's his way is American blacks could care less. What up, Greg? Could not cope. Yeah. But it's just crazy how they're able to say stuff like this.
Black American is, with the global presence that we have in our culture, with the copycatting that happens in our culture, with the denial of our culture, it's up to us to like morally take a high road when it comes to certain shit. So like being xenophobic doesn't help anybody, right?
No.
Being exclusionary of other cultures throughout the diaspora, even if sometimes y'all do that to us, that ain't our role.
Not our role. Our role is supposed to be to teach and forgive. What up, Dre? But it went further than that, unfortunately, for them. So after they came out, and let's be honest, this was an attempted coup. If you are a person who is a strict supporter of the, you say, oh yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, if you are a person who's a strict supporter of that ADOS, FBA, the Solar, all these names is. But if you are a person who is an adhere to all of the beliefs that they have, then at this point she became almost a mortal enemy to your beliefs. So because of that, people went and got the Carfax, because the most dangerous place people try to build a platform on is Twitter. People forget what they said 10 years ago, which is obviously normal. Nobody remembers the exact things they were saying 10 years ago. Hell, if you get on YouTube right now and scroll through comments you left 10 years ago on your page, you'll be like, what the hell was I talking about? You just said things. You don't know why you were saying that. You don't know what your thought process was at the time, sometimes at least. But they went and found the old messages by the manager of the Monaleo, artist. And he's a Nigerian. So the second I heard that he was Nigerian, I already know where this was going. I knew already. It was like, uh-oh, there it go. It's over. So Tariq Nasheed, somebody else had already posted this, but he blew it up even more. He says, it's interesting that Monaleo is going on her press run reprimanding Black Americans about the importance of Black unity with Caribbeans and Africans. But here are old tweets allegedly from her Nigerian manager referring to Black Americans as a Katt. His tweets from the back in the day were, wow, yeah, Dre. He isn't even the word. Wait till I get to the next person that's associated with this group. There was a woman, I don't know her name, so I can't say her name, who's associated with her. I don't know if she's directly in her team or if it's just somebody that was a support of her. She was talking crazy too, and people found old tweets. He said that Black Americans have not Black Americans, let me rephrase that. People who adhere to the beliefs of the FBA, ADOS, Solon stuff, that they have a low racial self-esteem. And then people found tweets of her saying how much she wanted a white man. And she was obviously also an African woman. So if you look at this right here, this is the manager of the Monaleo young lady. And he said, this is what he had to say in some of his tweets. He said, Akatas always do things the hard way. Where do you sit on policy? Then he said, Akatas, fuck y'all. Whoa, let's not turn this into Igbos versus Yorubas now. We're on the same team. It's the Akatas we don't like, remember? True. Back to Akatas. So he was obviously talking spicy and all this stuff. Also, these messages were from 2012. So they said he was a teenager at this point. He would have had to been a teenager. I think he's in his early 20s now. And she would have been like 11 years old when he said this. The point people are making is the way y'all are painting Black Americans as these haters and these people that's constantly being xenophobic, yet these people in their teenage years had these type of views and these type of us versus them mentality that when it gets pointed out now in their 20s and 30s, we're told we're haters, we're focusing on the negative, and we're being divisive, which is silly. So Tariq got a mixed reviews from this. You would think with hardcore proof like this, you wouldn't have many people in his comments trying to disagree with him, but you had a lot of people, oh, that's old, and why you bringing this up? They also tried to expose Tariq for something that is already public with the whole he was a pimp thing. And I saw Glasses Malone say, well, Malcolm X was too. People change, and they got mad about they got mad about that comparison. But the other person that they got to was Monaleo's Nigerian manager represents another artist named Maxo Cream, who is also Nigerian. Maxo was on the same anti-Black American tweets as the manager see the pattern. Now he says something even crazier. I ain't gonna read all these, but it's just one in particular you need to see that was kind of crazy. Once again, 2011, these are old. Katt killer. It is crazy that you go on this press run with this Black unity thing and saying how people are being xenophobic by not standing with these people. And the people on your team or associated with people on your team have stuff talking crazy. I ain't never, a Katt killer? They had turned into some gang language. Now, I know this was this had to be in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe in high school or whatever, there was some tribal things going on, because in school that happens. If you're a person who comes from a different culture, you don't fit in, you get bullied. Not in a, beat you up and throw you in the trash way, but more so you're different, conform. That's what bullying really is. It's a way of peer pressure. You have to conform to what we deem to be normal. So you eat different foods, you wear different clothes, you talk different, you carry yourself different, you get bullied until you conform to how we move. That's what that really is. So maybe he was going through that, I don't know. But man, I don't think I've seen an attempted coup in flames so quickly. They clearly were trying to reintroduce the Black American pride thing that's going on right now. They were trying to reintroduce it from a we all black thing, but also Black American culture is dope. They were trying to do it that way. They consider that more, less divisive. But instead, it turned into you shitting on these groups that already exist and already have a name and already have an audience on all forms of platforms. You're talking about TikTok and YouTube. They already have these audiences, and here you are shitting on them, and they were the biggest ones that were about to support you. It just don't make sense. But once I saw that Conscious Lee dude, and I kind of knew where it was going, which leads me to talk about this right here. Regina says, "Excuse my ignorance, but do black immigrants outnumber actual Black Americans in the Americas? Seriously?" No, they don't. But somehow they have gained, because America in general is more comfortable dealing with somebody who's from a different country, because you don't have the same history. They don't have the same history in this country. They might have a similar, what happened as far as, with the slave trade and lineage, as far as being descendants of Africa or whatever, or whether you believe they're African or indigenous or whatever. But it didn't happen to you here. See, when they see you, there's a certain level of baggage they attach to you. There's a certain level of microaggressions that you're going to acknowledge way faster. So when you go into a corporate office as a Black American, they know out the gate, where you from? You say, I'm going to say some typical stereotypical city. I'm from Compton. I'm from Chicago. I'm from Philly. I'm from Florida. I'm from Dade County. I'm from Atlanta. I'm from, Memphis. I'm from New Orleans. Because you're from certain places, there's a history attached to you. There's baggage attached to you. There's an assumed way I got to act around you. I got to walk on eggshells around you because of history. There's certain jokes and comments I got to be careful with because those things mean something to you. Versus a person who's Haitian or Jamaican or somewhere Caribbean or African, they don't mean the same to them. Those same little harmless, quote unquote, harmless little jokes don't mean as much to them. So they're more comfortable being around them. That has led to them being able to come to this country and get way more influence than their numbers would suggest. We talk about politics and policies that they control in certain cities. And they've used the platform of Black Americans as a bullhorn almost to garner more support or influence in this country. So it's a weird thing where they get to use the Black American historical culture as a bullhorn to what's happening to them and get support, while also at the same time being able to say, I'm not from here. It goes back to Shirley Chisholm, the Caribbean woman, the first woman to run for office. She said Black Americans have they're too close to the troubles of America to actually do real negotiations with white America. They can't do it. She said that. She has the same belief as white America. Regina says they just got the loudest voices saying nothing but talking loud. Facts at attaching their stories, traumas upon us, distractions. Again, their behavior is indicative of white men and no. I should be back. Hold on. All right. I should be back. My bad. All right. Again, their behavior is indicative of a white man and the other way around based upon how you currently describing this. Yeah, pretty much. But it's also just the American way to move forward. Like I said, the only people who don't see it as a competition is Black Americans. We don't see the rat race. We just see it as trying to get by. We're constantly in the get by mindset. It's not about actually competing to be at the top. But we just feel, and maybe it's our own way of coping with history. We've built a certain level of, I'm gonna be honest, arrogance. We've built a certain level of, we're a little obnoxious a little bit in that way, where we just like, we the best. Like, we don't care what the numbers say. We don't care about none of that. We the best. We did that to kind of cope with history in the context of what's happening in this country, that we don't compete. We know, we think if we did it, we'd be number one. If you see, it could be gymnastics. You can see somebody doing gymnastics and then a Black person just do a backflip on the internet. They're like, if Black people got into gymnastics, we'd be number one. Or if it was a field of a mathematician got on the internet and did this, and then some little Black kid does some equation that's very difficult. If Black people got into mathematics, we just feel like if we did it, we'd be number one, but we don't even need to try type thing, which is unfair to ourselves. Okay, I had to make sure it was my headphones. No, it was me. I pulled out the whatchamacallit. But let's get to this. In the Native Land podcast, they've had some in the last the last week, back and forth with the Joe Budden podcast about the anti-intellectualism in America. But I want to focus on this part that he mentioned with the Democratic Party, speaking about Andrew Gillum. Let me play some of this.
I was just going to appreciate that helping us to recall triangulation, and it is a strategy that sits at the foot of Bill Clinton. He did it on welfare reform, where he made Black women the ire of everybody's existence.
Correct.
It happened on crime and justice and the hiring of 100,000 new police officers to hit American streets. And we know what the foil of that was. And I think what's happening now is certain Democrats are deciding that it is an imperative in the Democratic presidential primary, meaning it is a must-have in the primary, to have a Democrat who is willing to strike hard against the Democratic base in some form or another in order to win this movable middle of.
So basically focusing on race, particularly Black people, moving away from the identity politics and going middle, which we already knew. That's why you notice Gavin Newsom is trying to seem like this moderate, stand in the middle type person. A few other people, they're trying to get away from certain agendas they once pushed, like the anti-police thing and abolish police and all the other stuff. They're trying to move away from that stuff because they're trying to seem more middle ground in order to get that. Because most people in the country are independent. That's the biggest audience. Most people are independent. They register independent. So you're trying to get those people more so than they ever did. Probably since Obama. I would say since Obama, this is probably the furthest they've tried to go to get that independent vote.
Of the electorate out there who will be kinder to them, who may give them their votes if they can show that they have the courage to strike out against a part of its base. And similar as it was in the early 1990s, 92 and 94 and 96, Black people are going to be at the intersection of this striking out.
Yep.
Reparations is, I think, just one form. that we're going to see this triangulation take place.
Yes, they're going to speak harshly against reparations. They're going to strike it down every chance they get to show that they're not for it.
I think
in order to get the independent audience.
It's going to happen, quite frankly, on a number of our issues. And what they're going to try to communicate to voters is that, yes, I believe in the Democratic coalition, but I'm willing to tell them hard truths too. I'm willing.
Which goes back to what we said. Now, this podcast, the people on this show, you got Tiffany Cross, Angela Rye, Andrew Gillum. I forgot the other dude's name. I think it's just them three on the show. The other dude just be visiting, I guess. They are considered Democratic shields. Let's be honest. We know they always are trying to tell black people to vote Democrat. They never give other option solutions. It's just, we got to beat Trump. We got to beat the Republicans. That's kind of their whole point. So I'm glad that they're at least acknowledging, because they have to, it's kind of blatant, obviously, that the Democratic Party has been, what they're admitting they're doing now, they've been doing forever. They've been doing this the neglectful thing they're doing now. But at least they're saying it loudly on their platform. That's somewhat, but I'm pretty sure at the end of this rant, he still says vote Democrat.
To go and look them directly in the face and tell them what's good for them and what's not good for them and what's bad for their people, and that I'm not always going to be on their side, but I want all their votes. And I think we have to be really suspicious of this tactic. I think we have to call the tactic out when we see it. I don't think it's worth waiting. I don't think we got to wade our way through the presidential primary process to know that this is a key part, or some folks are making this a key part of their strategy for winning the Democratic nomination. Whether Gavin Newsom believes this thing or not is of little concern to me. Whether the governor of Maryland believed what he was pitching at the time is of little concern for me.
Where's more? I told you.
I think the calculation has been made that you have to show that you're willing to, on the Democratic side, by the way, I'm not even saying this for the Republicans, because I don't believe this is a strategy on their side. But on the Democratic side, you have to be willing to strike out against a key element of your base, i.e. black people, in order to show that you have the bona fides to compete and to win the presidency in the 28 cycle. And I just think when we see this thing rear its head, we have to call it for what it is. We have to make a demand and then see if they're willing to then recapitulate back to our demand.
Well, there was a former rapper who attempted to hash out a deal with presidential candidates, and y'all ran him away from politics. He came out with an actual plan, step by step, that he wanted to offer both presidential nominees, and y'all chased him away and said that what did he know about anything? Get out of here. You know, now you want to ask for demands. So, yeah. All right. You have no influence on it now, so now you want to influence something. But speaking of that, I want to get to this. This is from 2024. It says black employment rates are at a record high. Now, if you read this article, or this study, should I say, it tells you that the percentages of people that share the same job based off black and white. I believe in 2 states, black men had the same employment levels as white men. I want to say in 17 states, black women had the same employment rate as white women. Now, if you remember, during this Trump administration, a whole bunch of black women in particular have been laid off. And I said before the election, the people that's going to get hit hardest during this shift with the Democratic Party is going to be black women. The second Kamala Harris lost, it was obvious, they're about to move away from y'all completely. They're about to dump y'all in a moving car. It's over now. They're not dealing with y'all as the center base as much as they did, at least, anymore. So I'm willing to see when they do this again, what those rates will look like, particularly for black women. And the party, like I said, made it obvious they were moving on from them, and they're trying to go to the middle, and they're trying to garner the white male audience again. That's what Newsom is for. We'll see how successful they are. I don't think they'll be successful at all, because that audience has been radicalized by the right wingers, and they've convinced them that they are being attacked, that their numbers are dwindling, and they're not getting respected, and they're constantly being attacked globally. And so I don't think the Democrats will have a shot at getting them, which they didn't anyway, but they damn sure ain't got a shot at the younger ones. Let me show this. Going into the last segment now. Black enrollment is waning at many elite colleges after affirmative action ban. So what does that mean? After decades of gradual growth, the number of black students enrolling at many elite colleges has dropped, and in 2 years since the Supreme Court banned affirmative action, the admission leaving some campuses with black population as small as 2% of their freshman class, according to the Associated Press analysis. New enrollment figures for 20 selective colleges provide mounting evidence of a backslide in black enrollment. On most of all these campuses, black students account for a smaller share of their new students in the fall than in 2023. At Princeton and some others, the number of new black students has fallen by nearly half in that span. When I read this, I had a different thought. I saw somebody else agreeing. When I read this, I immediately had this thought. If the numbers drop of amount of black people enrolling, black students, do they mean black students or do they mean black American students? They didn't separate it as far as I know in here, but I'm wondering what percentage of these HBCUs now are black American students? Because now HBCUs have been put under the spotlight. People gonna be paying attention to this after I talk about this latest story involving Keke Palmer. But let me show this here. Shout out to Mark Gordon. He sent me this.
There was a doctor on here who pointed out that there needs to be more Black American doctors to work with Black American communities, but nowadays a lot of the Black doctors that you meet are African. And I completely agree with her, and I also think that this extends to research as well. There needs to be more Black American researchers working with Black American communities. And I don't even think that this is something radical to say. I do feel like this is just common sense. There's a level of cultural awareness, sensitivity, and humility that you need to work with certain communities, like Black American communities, that most people do not have if they are not from that community. So it's not enough to just be Black. I think you also have to be a part of that community to fully understand their lived experiences and to be able to work with them in such a sensitive space like medicine and research. I do research with Black immigrant communities for two primary reasons. Not necessarily to create divisions between groups or to pit groups against each other. It's more to highlight the heterogeneity that exists within Black communities in the US, and also because those are the lived experiences that I'm more familiar with because I am part of that community. So even though I did grow up around a lot of Black Americans and I have read a lot of books and took a lot of courses on Black American history, I still do not have the level of cultural awareness that is necessary because I still hold some biases that I'm not even aware of. I do analyze data that was collected from Black Americans.
So you get the point she's making. That led to, at least me, because I got this from Mark Gordon, and I'm tying it to another story I'm going to get to, because she's talking about the medicine and research. And she says something that's kind of obvious. You need people to be a part of the community in order to help the community, to serve it. Say the same thing for police officers. It's not even about being of the same lineage. You need to be from the same city. If you're in a neighborhood policing a certain neighborhood or city, you should probably be from that area. You should probably live in that area because it would change how you view the people in the neighborhood because you'll know them more than likely, and how you'll view the neighborhood in general because you live there. So you won't sit as just a bunch of people that you're just watching to make sure aren't committing crime. You'll be actually looking to help the people there. But I want to show this next one. Let me show this here. This Mark got this one from Mark as well.
40 million Black people in America are the role models for 1.8 billion Black people in the world. When we say something's cool, it's cool in Tibet. When we say something's a dud, it's a dud in North Korea. We have mastered culture, community, and cool and creativity, yes or no? So now all we have to do is switch become bilingual and master capitalism, commerce, and a new community. Don't go from rocking the mic to owning it. So I want you just to shift your brain. In other words, you are the capital. You already have what you need. When you walk in a room, you are unique. Everybody wants to be you, except they don't want to be black.
This part right here I've been saying for the longest.
The mic to owning it. Don't go from rocking the mic to owning it.
I said for the longest, black people have been associated with entertainment for the longest. We're talking about music, movie shows, television. See people who say that we need to be more than entertainers, doctors, we need to be down. Wouldn't the next step be to control what you dominate? If everybody is, if 80% of the NBA is black, shouldn't the next point be to get the people that represent them to be black, and then try to go for some of the representative of the teams to be black, and then maybe some of the owners be black? Should the point be to own it if you already are the majority of the people that's at the forefront of it as far as the entertainment, the face of it, the branding? But you know, another story that came, I'm gonna skip this actually. I'm gonna skip this one. We're gonna jump to something else. So hold on. Oh no. Oh, I gotta talk about this. Hold on. A war zone created by Trump. 4 Chicago rappers speak out against ICE occupation. As Trump agents raid South Shore and other neighborhoods, local rappers are speaking up for their fellow Chicagoans. So, y'all know ICE is in Chicago, and we're seeing stories of Black American senators being pulled out of their houses and questioned. They're not being arrested; they're just being accosted and stuff in the streets, in their homes, and they're being pretty much harassed is what they're calling it. But they're being let go afterwards, but they're not being treated like actual citizens, because the areas they live in have immigrants, so they're searching for these people, and unfortunately they're in the crosshairs of it, and they're being affected by it. They're like collateral damage at this point. This story I don't care about, but another story was associated with this that I want to get to, the ICE and the what's called it. This right here was tweeted out by Homeland Security. This is the official Homeland Security page. They said, if you threaten or lay hands on our law enforcement officers, we will hunt you down and you will find out really quick. We see you cowards soon. So this was because a video went viral of a group of young black males standing in the video wearing, they stand in the video and there's some words on the screen that says, ICE, we're on the way. Word in the streets, cartels put a $50K bounty on y'all head. Let me play the video.
Blessed these hoes on my dick cause I'm fly like a jet. They gonna be surprised when they see I made this beat, baby Chief and Kanye West. As long as the hoe outside with the zoo shit never see home. So
they took this as a threat to ICE, that these hoodlums, these gang members, that's what they were calling them, are threatening to do something to ICE for $50K bounties. Obviously, it turned out to be fake. The video was from a whole other post, and the guy who was in the video actually responded. Let me play what he had to say. Now, if I'm not mistaken, funny enough, I think the guy in the video is actually Haitian. Regina says, see, the content creator influence, Homeland Security uses the slang. Yeah. Let me play this here.
So I'm getting these mad messages from my DMs in social media and on my comments, and I randomly get a text message talking about a recent video that was posted in my account. I was like, what are y'all talking about? By the way, I'm sick, so if I sound weird, yeah, I get threats daily on IG and everywhere all over my social media all of a sudden due to an old video I posted months ago about Iran. That was not to be a threat. It was literally a joke, bro. Like, seriously, it's just content. Anyways, once I seen that video that was posted on my account, then I was like, what the fuck? Well, didn't I post this like months ago? Then I seen the caption, And then I was like, wait, I didn't do that. I still got the video saved on my draft months ago on TikTok, bro. I'm gonna pull it up right here.
This is the video, the original. Hold on. So you see that we can do, don't say something that you can't. Finish Iran. We united, we all stand, we want all the smoke. This is when black people was joking about going to war with Iran. So that had nothing to do with ICE. Now, we know who actually did this. And I don't think it was the right wingers. I believe the people on the left who've been fighting hard as hell to convince black people to be a part of this part of this ICE situation, defending immigrants. I believe they created this. And it led to a backlash, and now you got the Homeland Security threatening these dudes, threatening to do something to these dudes because they think they threaten ICE. But the fact that they didn't, but the sad part is, the fact that the official Homeland Security didn't verify the video. They didn't just do like 5 minutes of research to find out what the original video is. Says more about this government than anything. Like, Homeland Security didn't do research on something before posting it. And they haven't even taken it down. They haven't deleted it. Like, that's where we are now in this country. Then I got to show this. The final thing we're going to talk about. It's not that important, but I thought it was funny. It goes back to what I said about when you have certain audiences, you have to be careful. They can be very fickle and you can lose them quickly. So I'm going to show this trailer for a TV show. I think this is on Kiki Palmer's network. I'm going to play it. Tell me what y'all.
All right, say cheese. Cheese. Okay. I know I got some explaining to do. I got it. Let's start with the elephant in the room.
Yes, I'm Asian. Yes, my family's black. And yes, I've always been hard to miss.
This is Coco.
College is what you make it. Once you immerse yourself in the opportunities here, I'm sure that you will find W has so much to offer.
I mean, too hoe or not too hoe, like.
Don't forget who you are. Coco, that girl, Jackson.
For a lot of people, this is hard to understand, but black culture is the only culture I know.
Okay.
So this led to some backlash, and I don't care about this show at all. This is not for me. It's not a show I'm meant to watch. But it led to some good commentary because once again, people who are black are deciding to center other people in their own story. So why would a black person? These people who wrote this are from HBCUs, by the way. They made sure to point it out. It's all black creators from HBCUs that wrote this story. The only question I got to ask is, why do y'all continue to want to center other people in your stories? Who gives a damn about an Asian girl at a HBCU? Like, what? You realize there's not even enough stories of black people going to college in these damn TV shows and movies. Like, you could have wrote a black story doing the same damn thing, but you instead decided to center an Asian woman and how hard it is growing up in a different culture and, you know, the prejudice you have to deal with. Are you serious? So obviously, Craig said always inclusive. Obviously, she got a lot of backlash for this. It went about as well as you thought it would go. Hold on, let me make sure I have. Oh, she deleted a lot of stuff. See, that's why I should have. This is why you got to screenshot stuff and download it, because they delete. Yeah, she done delete it. So the director or writer of the story, she's deleted all her comments about this. Smart on her case. So everybody's making a comment like, why do we care about an Asian story and black culture? Why wouldn't you focus on black people? How you go to HBCU? And if I'm not mistaken, she's been trying to push this story and get it put in this. She's imagined this story for a decade. And now she's finally getting put on screen after a decade. And everybody's saying after 10 years, you would think at some point you would have changed the story and said, yeah, maybe we don't need to center Asians. And this is off the back of Asians fighting to get rid of affirmative action. They went to war, went to the Supreme Court to attack something that's supposed to, we know it don't, supposed to help you and your people. And you didn't change at some point and say, all right, let me switch this up. Yeah, that's sad. Grace said that's what she needed to do. Yeah, she deleted everything. I had it all. I think she deleted her whole entire account. I think that's best for her. Because I was gonna play. It wasn't a lot of comments, obviously. It wasn't a lot necessarily. I was just going to play her response. Because her response was, I'm black. Everybody who worked on this is black. I want to tell stories that have diversity and variety. I want to focus on, when I was in college, I had friends who were non-black, and I saw how it was for them to navigate being at the HBCU outside of their culture, and I wanted to tell that story. It's like, bro, really? Come on, bro. But yeah, once again, the people that constantly want to bring other people in and make them a part of it, and but those other side, do you think there'll be anybody Asian who writes for a living, do writing for movies and TV shows, has thought about writing a story that features a black woman that had to go to a college at a majority Asian college? You think they ever thought of that story and said, I wonder how hard it is for them and I should help tell that story? You think they ever done that? Because every time you look at them, they trying to get their stuff on screen. The entire idea of that Crazy Rich Asian show, that movie that came out years ago, that was the entire push behind that was, we want to get Asian stories. I remember when Black Panther came out and you had a whole bunch of Mexicans saying, where's our Black Panther? When every demographic actually was saying, where's our Black Panther? So when they see you do something for you, they do it. They want to do it for themselves, but Negroes want to add them to their stories because inclusive, fair. You got to be the freedom fighter for everybody else. It's just crazy. Speaking of that, let me play this right here on the way out. I'm gonna play this on the way out. Man, every week I see videos of people around the planet, other languages, every culture you can think of, mimicking stuff that happens in little old Black America. Craig says Mexicans have Blue Beetle, but I didn't even support that shit. Man, they didn't give a damn about Blue Beetle. I ain't see none of them talking about it. I ain't see none of them pressing for it. I ain't see none of them congratulating or even critiquing. They didn't give a damn. Instead, they put Mexicans in Black Panther 2. They made a Mexican, Umar called them water Mexicans. They made a water Mexican go into Wakanda, kill the queen, seduce the damn new Black Panther to the point where the man killed your mama, and instead of killing him, you make peace with him and want to work with him because the real enemy is the white man. You mean the same white man that y'all allowed a CIA in the first movie? Y'all allowed a CIA agent into Wakanda. This shit is cooked. And I understand Ryan Coogler, he couldn't tell the story completely how he wanted. Disney had to throw in some, what Disney had to do. But the fact that the whole second movie is pretty much about Mexicans, Hispanics, and their culture, it's just, you gave them their own movie and still had to infringe on Black Panther. But it is what it is. Let me play some more of this. Chiquito, man. All right, I think that's all we got today. I'm gonna play one more video, and I'm getting out of here. I should probably play this one earlier, but kind of put it on late. Let's listen to what this sister had to say.
Okay, I'm going to give you a prime example of how Africans are much different than Black Americans, okay? Just in the way they think, okay? And I can give this opinion, okay? And I'm not being racist. I just know the difference between the two cultures. Now, I'm going to talk about it in my profession, which is law. Okay, if someone comes to me and they tell me they want to be a lawyer, Black Americans versus an African, right? A Black American, why you want to practice law? Man, I saw how my people were done wrong. I want to give back. I just think about the ancestors and they've had to overcome and what they had to do. And I just see how, the law treats Black people or my people. That's usually my people. I see how the law treats my people versus how they treat everyone else. And I want to make a change for my community. That's typically what I hear from Black Americans. Now, if you ask an African the same thing, it's all about personal mobility or the mobility of their personal family. It's not about the community as a collective. It's about their parents, pressure from their parents, and upward mobility. And they usually won't do anything that has to do with social justice or elevating the Black community. Neither is wrong. It's just a different process. It's a different mindset, right? So going back to what I say about delineation.
It goes back to what I said earlier. When they come to America, they don't have the quote unquote baggage, the historical baggage of the lineage that Black Americans have. So they don't have the same thought process. Their culture is totally different. And they have different goals. They don't have this freedom goal at all. It's, I want to get up mobility for myself and my immediate family. I want to make my parents proud. It's not about helping Black people.
When you have Black Americans who think about the community, the whole, and you have others that come in and able to benefit off of the whole.
Like I said earlier, use your culture and history as a bullhorn.
But yet they don't give back into that energy because their thinking is different. And nothing is wrong with it. But you have to recognize that it's two different mindsets. And this is not for divisive purposes. It's just so you can understand.
Well, I think it was Malcolm. The story told he went to Africa to try to build this unity bridge, and they told him Africa has its own problems. Virginia said, thanks for the show, Duke. End strong, everyone, and start fresh on Moon Day. Brown and black faces confused. They don't tell the truth. Yeah, so it's not I agree with it. It's not necessarily wrong. They from a different culture. They have a different system that they come from. It is what it is. Can't get mad about it. You understand it and move accordingly. The question becomes, do we start treating it like a competition, or do we continue to treat it like, just survival? We gotta make that decision. But anyway, thank y'all for coming through. I think I kept y'all long enough. Let's see how long I keep y'all. It's over. I would thought it's a short one. Had to be a short one. This way I got to be off by, what time is it? Well, it's a little early. I got to be off by 5 anyway. I'm about an hour early. It is what it is. Thank y'all for coming through as always. Appreciate the support. Every last one of y'all coming in. Really appreciate it. Hopefully enjoy the conversation. Please like it on your way out. Subscribe if you're not, and share it if you can. And as always, Regina said, that's why this battle seems false equivalents appearing real to me. They're not like us. They absolutely are not. And as always, man, thank y'all for coming through in peace. And hold on. Make sure I got it. Yeah, I got everything. Okay, I got everything. All right, man. As always, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.